What's up YouTube, it's JB Tech Fanatic and I'm back again with another video. As always, I want to start this video by thanking each of you for joining me. If you have not yet subscribed, I'd be so honored if you consider. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And if you want to know when the latest content is available, don't forget to click the notifications to on. Today we're back, we're going to do things a little differently. Today's video is about the true cost of being a tech fanatic, no pun intended. But I hope to help the consumer realize if they're looking to save money but get into technology, that there is good ways to go about it, and also kind of give you the pros and cons of buying new tech when it first comes out. Now, I'm sure you're all aware, phones are probably one of the quickest moving products. Gosh, I think every 6 months, these companies are putting out a new phone, and these phones are typically $1,000 and more, reaching $2,000. So someone like me that reviews technology, if you're buying phones constantly, you can imagine how quickly that will add up. Now, the quickest way to lose money, I could tell you, you could purchase a phone for $1,500. The moment you cut it out of the box, meaning you break that seal, it's literally worth half. Now, we all know vehicles depreciate pretty fast, but technology is the quickest depreciating products probably that there are. Now, we're going to talk about TVs, tablets, phones, and also soundbars. As we know, they're very popular right now. The big companies like Bose, they're coming out with, different lines, and it can get confusing as far as which way to go. Now, first and foremost, being a tech fanatic, buying things right when they come out. Let me give you the cons to it. First thing is, you're going to pay full price for something that is very, very likely to be on sale within a few months, if not shorter period of time, right after it comes out. Now, each of us have been to the store before, and let's just say we buy something that's $50. If you see it on sale 3 days later, $10 off, you might want to go back to the store and get that $10 back. Now, imagine that being by the thousands of dollars. Now we're going to talk about a TV. Let's just say you buy the latest Samsung television, and it's launching in March at $5,000. You can almost bet your bottom dollar that in about a month and a half is going to be $1,500 or more cheaper. Now that's a pretty substantial amount of money, considering that could be more than most people make an entire week of work. So how do you justify buying tech at all? The way I like to look at it is there's different categories of the shopper, right? I am well aware, by the way, that everybody has different financial access, if you would. Maybe you love technology, you don't care about the expense. That is the kind of person typically just buying new tech is for. The consequences of buying new tech, with the exception of it losing a lot of value or selling for way less in a short time, is if it's a very new item, it might not sell well, and you will pay full price for something that'll eventually be half price, and it will lose support immediately, if not within 6 months. Which means you won't get software updates. It's almost as if these companies, if it doesn't sell well, they completely forget about the customers that spent their hard-earned money on this very expensive tech. The second problem is you don't know what the bugs are. As an example, the Galaxy Fold 1, very expensive phone. A lot of people purchased it because it was so cool, right? It folded, everyone was talking about it, but it turned out to have more problems, and then that turned into getting it fixed and coming back out. These are all things that you can kind of grow to expect when you're buying new. I think of tech a lot of like a new show on TV. Have you ever started watching a show and you thought it was the greatest show in the world, and after one season it gets canceled, or maybe they don't even finish the season? This often happens with tech. When you think of audio systems, soundbars, there's only so many formats of sound that are available. Yet companies are able to pump out a new product every single year. As a consumer, we might get sold by, oh my gosh, I just bought this and this one's way better because now this one says Dolby Atmos on it, or it has a new extra speaker feature. Whatever it might be, the sound quality probably is going to be close to the same. In fact, many companies take the exact same soundbars, repackage them, rebrand them, and resell them. This is something that you often see with a product that doesn't move as many units that got manufactured. They need to get rid of those units. So the question you need to ask yourself is, when I think about tech, take price out of it, but what is the value of the tech to you? It doesn't have to be about the value that it will hold for money, but more about the joy or experience it should give you for the number of years you, I guess, budget for that item. So if I was going to go buy a new TV and a new sound setup, and I said I have $5,000, and let's not kid ourselves, $5,000 is a lot of money. I would think to myself, okay, I want to get at least 4 years out of all of the product combined. But in this day and age, what will happen is you'll spend $5,000 on a TV. The very next year, you will be hit with marketing ads that make you feel like, oh my God, I don't have the newest edition. Phones are the worst, right? The new phone comes out and they just blast us with the media about, oh, the new camera, all this does all this cool stuff. The truth is, your phone that you just purchased still does all the same stuff. There might be slight improvements that you won't even notice, but we tell ourselves it's worth it. So we go give our $1,400 phone. Maybe we're smart and we get $700 trade-in for a new one, and the whole process starts again. TVs, on the other hand, get even more expensive, and then there's so many to choose from. And they come out with new models pretty much in every series every year. Now, I looked it up. When you talk about TVs, February through April is when all the main manufacturers release TVs. What does this mean for you? One, that's going to be the time if you want to buy the latest tech to buy your TV. Two, if you want to get a deal, this is going to be your best case scenario. They're going to want to clear out old stock, so start looking when the new TV launches. Unless the TV changes technology, meaning it goes from LED to mini LED to OLED, essentially you will get incremental upgrades. In fact, sometimes when it comes to TVs, the first or second model has the most money of parts in it, meaning they put the most technology in it. And as that series ages, they actually will drop down specs based on the price point they feel the consumer will purchase it. So when they come up with the perfect price point that seems to get the most traction, they find sort of that sweet spot. What they'll do is they might give you a slightly faster processor, but what they always do to make sure to eventually get you to buy a new TV, they stop giving you the latest software. Essentially, there's really no reason, if you think about it, if you buy a top-of-the-line television, there is no reason why it could not have next year's software and the following year's software and the following year's software. There's no reason why it shouldn't be able to run it. And the reason that is because typically when you buy the top tier TVs, they have faster processors, right? They're able to handle this, but they decide to always get you to buy something new. Now that's completely understandable. I realize the shareholders probably want them to sell more items, but let's take it as we are a customer. We want to start buying technology. We don't want to get ripped off, but we want to have nice stuff. Here's my advice. First and foremost, think about ecosystem. Now, this is very important because this is actually how manufacturers can really get you to purchase all of their products. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because you get a lot of extra features. Ecosystem meaning, let's just say you're buying a Samsung TV. A Samsung phone with a Samsung TV, if it's a smart TV, is going to give you the most features. Then, if you want a smart refrigerator, Samsung, they all play with each other and they play really nicely. And there will always be extra features that you cannot do with other devices. Now, you can keep going with that in this day and age. Smart washer and dryer, the air dresser. I did videos on all of this stuff. They all link together. Smart fridge, smart microwave, smart dishwasher, smart vacuum. Now, once you do this and you buy into that ecosystem, you actually buy yourself more time, because when all these new features come out, you might already have features based off the fact that you're using the same devices. So my recommendation to everyone is this. You know your expenses, right? Best time to buy a new TV at launch, okay? Find out the launch date of your favorite TV manufacturer. If you go by the theory, and you'll hear this all the time, well, next year they're going to have 12-bit and next year they're going to have this, you will always be able to say next year because they will always hold back. If somebody came out with something that did everything and it had software updates forever, with the exception of it just breaking, right? They would never sell new items. And if you're going to come out with a new phone every 6 months and a new television and 10 different lines every year, you're going to have to get us to buy another TV. The olden days, right? Not even that long ago. Gosh, when I grew up, my parents owned the same TV for 10 years. I don't even know that a TV would last that long anymore. And it's all because we are in a throwaway society. Buy new, throw it away. Don't fix it anymore. There used to be repair stores everywhere with everything, right? Really think of the logic behind that. Soundbars. Ask yourself, are you being sold by the specs on the box? And are these specs even something you're going to use? Now, I'm going to tell you this. Sound quality essentially is going to stay the same if you have, essentially the same system with new enhancements. Software and features, they are added, okay? Sometimes a soundbar won't have Bluetooth, and then next year it'll have Bluetooth and they'll drop Wi-Fi, or 1 year it'll have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Find the devices that you are going to utilize. If you're not a wireless person, stick with your old sound system, right? It's still going to sound amazing. If you're running Dolby 5.1, right? And you've got a new system with Dolby 5.1 and you're never going to use the new Bluetooth or the new Wi-Fi, why buy it, right? Unless you're trying to buy something smaller. But the idea here is buy the ecosystem and think about the future. Hey, we're thinking about buying a new Samsung refrigerator next year, but this year I'm going to buy a TV. Maybe you should buy Samsung. Now, you could do the same with LG, Sony, right? Companies that manufacture everything. Now, let's just say you go with kind of that off-brand. What I recommend doing is looking at the items you either own or plan on owning and seeing if it's compatible with that. Routers, Wi-Fi, right? So many of us go out, you want to buy a new Wi-Fi router every year, and it's got all this crazy new technology, AX, and you're like, wow, 5,000 speed, oh, I need it. But then you go home, you have nothing that is compatible with AX. You're not planning on doing that. Your fastest internet speed coming into your home is only 100, but you want something that puts out 5,000. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's got to be thought as a process. Now, phones. There is actually an art to getting phones for the best price. Now, this has actually changed in the recent years. It used to be they would give you absolutely nothing for trade-in. Samsung, I love Samsung phones, that's why I keep saying this. First of all, let's just be honest. Apple always has the highest trade-in. It is what it is. I'm not an Apple fan, but it does. Absolutely has the highest trade-in. But Samsung, when you're trading in for Samsung, has been doing some crazy trade-in deals. Meaning the S20, they gave me $750 or $700 plus an additional $140. It was a lot. Trade-in for the new Samsung S21 Ultra. So in this case, if you wanted to buy a new phone, say every year, you can essentially, you have to pre-order normally to get these deals. Pre-order, use your device to trade in, and then buy it in cash. The moment you start financing it, which I understand a lot of us have to do, that's completely understandable. But if you can afford it, trade in your device and pay cash the difference. Now you own your device, you have a device that you can trade in, and you can continue this cycle and essentially at least get a deal, a substantial deal. And they always throw in free items, you know, free earbuds and different situations when you pre-order. But once you miss that mark and you see phones at full retail price, let's just say you're on Verizon, they got the S21 Ultra, it's $1,400. My advice to you, unless money's no object, is don't do it. It's not worth it. That phone has already been going with deals. Again, you essentially have to start with purchasing one phone. Maybe you might have to go retail. You could still do pre-order and get special bonuses. But once you have a newer phone, you have to keep trading that newer phone every year to stay on this cycle. Now, for those of you that are fine with your phone for 2 years, that's actually what? The smartest thing you can do, right? There's no way a phone as powerful as the Samsung S21 Ultra will not be good in 2 years, right? These things are so powerful. They're more powerful than laptops used to be just about, 8 years ago, maybe a little longer, I don't know. But they're so powerful. Essentially, they are going to get you on either gimmicks, camera, or battery, right? That's how they get us to buy more. So now we understand that it's always going to be about buying more. Get the consumer to come back next year and buy again. So when it comes to TVs, we've talked about what is the best time frame to buy them in. But let's talk about how far back should you buy? Now, again, price is going to play a big piece of this, right? But if you were to say, JB Tech Fanatic, I want to buy last year's model TV, my response to you would be, if it's the same price as this year's, no, buy this year's. If it's half the price as this year's, then definitely buy it. I would not buy, however, a television that's more than 2 cycles old. And the reason for that is you've basically cut the time in half that you'll get in. Again, this is if you want this stuff, the future technology. Now with TVs, we're in sort of a transition period. First, we went from 720 1080i, then we went to 1080p, then we went to 4K, and now we're going from 4K to 8K. Now, this is going to play a role in a lot of people's decisions. However, there's a few things to keep in mind. One, there is different quality 8K and 4K TVs. Believe it or not, the more expensive TVs, even though sometimes they're triple the cost of what you can buy on like Black Friday at, some of these TVs, are typically worth the extra money you pay as far as future-proofing your TV. Now, I say that because there is so much more to a TV than the screen size and the resolution. And unfortunately, the average consumer doesn't know that. We go into a store, we see a big, huge TV, and we think, oh my God, a 75-inch 4K TV, that's a great deal. And honestly, it might not be a great deal. When you're going for a TV, you got to think of the specs that you need. Are you a gamer? Do you want 8K? Is 8K important to you? Are you willing to pay for something that's not readily available, but will be? Because now we're in that time frame where it will start to come out. But 8K started to, they started to release 8K TVs several years ago when there was essentially zero to watch in 8K. There still is not that much in 8K, but we are getting to that point where it might be worth considering getting an 8K TV. If you're a gamer, you're going to want to make sure that it has the best response times and that it has the latest HDMI 2.1 port. HDMI 2.1 had been thrown at us for years. They put it in some older Sony TVs, and again, nothing was compatible with it. Those TVs are so old by now that whoever does have them is likely not going to use the HDMI 2.1 feature because it's not even compatible with the hertz needed and, you know, all the greatness of the new gaming consoles, the Xbox Series X, and the PlayStation 5, right? VRR, 120 frames per second gaming, native 120 hertz panels. Even the Xbox Series X talks about 8K gaming, but again, it'll probably likely be a long time before we see 8K gaming coming out of the consoles. But they're selling us on something that it does, but it just barely does it. We talked about routers before, right? When there was nothing even close to gig speed, they were selling gig routers. And let me tell you, I have some of those routers. I have gig speed now, and none of them put even close to gig speed in the air. Because again, we're getting sold by the packaging. So when purchasing a TV, don't just look at the package, look at the official specs, watch a YouTube video, or go into the official specs, check if you're getting an LCD, LED, if it has the right amount of dimming zones. Is it a backlit TV? A full array local dimming, right? PHALID, you've heard that before. Edge-lit. What technology do you want? Because you might be sold by something that looks pretty on the wall, but looks terrible once you turn it on. The next thing you want to do is always buy at a reputable store or online. Just, you know, if you're going to go online, I typically like to do the white glove service, and that's because your TV is going to get bounced around. I've had TVs delivered from FedEx that literally look, the boxes are shredded to pieces, they're black, they're flipped upside down. TV's fine, and then I got a TV just a few months ago, the box was fine and the entire TV was shattered. This kind of shows you that, hey, maybe it turns on right when we get it, but if they didn't take care of it, it might not last that long. So that brings me to why you should buy it from a reputable retailer. And I almost always, now I say this because I know these can be expensive, recommend an extended warranty plan. If you buy a 4-year extended warranty plan on just about any tech, you're going to use it. People like to say all the time, oh, I bought LG and it broke on me. I don't like it. It's a terrible product. Here's the truth about tech. There is not a manufacturer on this planet that puts out a perfect product, meaning they will always have some items that are dead on arrival. They will always have items that do not last. You might get a Samsung TV. It might last you 6 months. I might get the same exact TV and it might last me 5 years. And the reason for that is lots, right? The same TV can be made in many different facilities. So you might have a TV that's the exact same brand and model made in one country, and I might have the same exact model made in the other country, and it's all shipped here. So obviously, quality of work, how it was shipped, how it was handled. These are all things you got to take into consideration when buying a TV. My favorite thing to do is go to the store, check the box, and carry it out. That way I know at least the packaging is good. You can even, if you go to Best Buy, cut the box open, check the screen. You would be surprised how many screens are broken. It's really crazy when you think about it. But TVs, don't buy older than 2 years. These are just my recommendation, and meaning not, it could be brand new, but a 2-year cycle, meaning the exact same model, and now we're 2 years out of it. Also, the benefit of buying 1-year-old, and that's kind of the sweet spot, I think. New TVs come out. I told you the dates. We buy it right around that time. Maybe you get a great deal on it, hopefully half price. That TV is just finally getting, it's already had maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 software updates. It's really getting fine-tuned. You might be getting a better experience than the people that bought it in the beginning. This happens oh so often. And you've probably seen reviews about something and everyone's saying it's terrible. And then 6 months go by and you have people like me doing reviews saying, I don't know what they're talking about. It's a great TV. And that's usually because most tech reviewers are sponsored channels. They get these TVs before they're even released, and they're not even on retail software. They still have all the bugs and they haven't been worked out. So software can also cause a lot of issues and can be fixed with a simple software update. Now, when it comes to sound, I recommend looking at what you have as far as a receiver, or if you're going to buy a new receiver, does your TV have a couple things? If you're going to buy Dolby Atmos, do you have devices that are compatible with that? Meaning, does your TV have an eARC on the back of it? Does it even support Dolby Atmos, right? Because if it doesn't, and you're spending, let's just say, an extra $400 to get Dolby Atmos, and you just bought this TV, it doesn't work with it, why spend the extra money to get Atmos? And when it comes to Atmos, remember this. If you see a bar that's a simple 2.1 single bar, it's $200 and they got every spec on the board, right? Dolby Atmos, THX, anything you can think of. I would be leery of really what a difference that's going to make. My Samsung Galaxy phone has Dolby Atmos. Is that real Dolby Atmos? Absolutely not. There is a major difference in theater Dolby Atmos and a simple soundbar. And I'm talking no rears, no sub, but you'll find them all over the market. Don't waste your time or money. It's just literally a gimmick to me. And that's the kind of stuff that gets frustrating because you will pay more for that. So always look at what you can do with the products that you have and plan on keeping. Appliances, here's another one. Appliances are something that typically sit on the market for years. They come out with new models every year, but here's the thing, appliances are big, they're heavy, and they're expensive. So you might go to Costco or even Lowe's or Home Depot, buy a brand new Samsung refrigerator, but it might be 2 years old. Find out, right? Usually, March is when they start to release their new stock. The best way I recommend doing this, if you want the latest and greatest, because you don't always get a discount on the old stuff, and that's just being honest, when they deliver it, check the manufacturer's date. That is crucial to when you're getting appliances. Here's the thing with appliances. You might read about an appliance, an exact model, and everyone's having issues with it, but it's been around for a while. And all of a sudden, people are posting rave reviews, and you're like, well, I don't know what to believe. I see all these horrible reviews. During that time, they could have fixed the issue, went to a new manufacturing plant. It essentially looks identical to us, but all the parts inside are different. Quality, if it's a good company, is going to get fixed. I don't want to ever believe that a company knowingly wants to leave a product out that is going to just break on everyone. But I do believe they want you to buy even appliances much more often than you probably should, right? New washer and dryer, I don't know, I would say at least 6 years, refrigerator, 6, maybe longer. So even that market is kind of getting confusing, but what I can recommend to you is this. When you buy, make sure the product you get is at least made in that year, unless you're getting a substantial discount. And especially on appliances, always buy some sort of extended warranty. Refrigerators, washers, dryers, dishwashers, and microwaves. I have reviewed a ton of them. Most of them I have not done videos on, and I will tell you almost 90% of them will have at least 2 problems in the first year. And after that, the number just gets even worse. And refrigerator fixes are very expensive. You might have a $2,000 refrigerator and you got $600-700 bills just to fix it. Again, throwaway society. Well, what should you do? Fix it for $700 or throw it away and buy another one? And that's the problem, I think, right, with the quality issue. But always make sure it's at least manufactured in that date and it's the real model that you've been researching. Look for the exact model numbers. They can just slightly vary and throw you off, but always check. All right, so let's talk about smart items now. And when I say smart items, this could be anything like lights, plugs, meaning sockets to turn them on and off, cameras, security cameras, doorbells like the Ring doorbell. There's several things that you need to take into consideration when you start to purchase. We all do this. We go to the store, we see a smart camera, like, oh, that's a great deal, let's get it. The problem starts to be when you really start turning your home into essentially a smart home. When you start to have multiple cameras with multiple lights and multiple smart plugs, you really want to pay attention to the ecosystem that they work on. Because let's be honest, there is nothing more annoying than have to go to this app to shut off your lights, this app to turn off your plugs, this app to turn on and off your cameras. It's better to have them all in one ecosystem. So first thing is, what ecosystem are you going to build or are you on, and does it work with your devices? The second thing is whether or not it has the connection method you want. You can get devices that need a hub or devices that need Wi-Fi. Here's the problem with devices that need Wi-Fi. Hubs were the first things that came out with these smart items, and then it became, oh, that's a bad thing, we need it on Wi-Fi. The problem with having it on Wi-Fi, it doesn't really start to affect you until you have multiple items. Now all of a sudden, you're putting 6, 20, 10, 15, whatever you choose, all on your Wi-Fi network, bogging down the things that you want to do most to turn on a light switch. So this is what I recommend. Ecosystem is important. Samsung SmartThings. Go on Samsung SmartThings if you use, I'm just giving you an example. If you have Samsung TVs, if you want everything to pop up on your TV, if you want the doorbell to show on your TV and your smart refrigerator, they have to be in the same ecosystem or supported by each other or they won't. Samsung SmartThings is my favorite. Google Home is my second favorite. My home actually runs on both of those systems. They actually tie into each other just perfectly. What happens is this. If I have cameras and plugs and bulbs and everything on my network, I could literally, I review this. It's out of control with me, but it's like 70, 80 items, right? That's way too many. A hub is the right answer for me. I want smart plugs and lights that run on a hub. That way, I don't need to worry about them bogging down my router. Things that I want on my Wi-Fi, I want to be able to stream video, whether that be through my Ring doorbell or anything that needs to have good crystal clear quality like a security camera. Make sure that they have the resolution, the connection, and that they work with the operating system or ecosystem that we talked about. That is the best way to do it. If you find items that work with an ecosystem and they're cheap, it really doesn't matter if they work. Who cares what brand they are? If they work with that ecosystem that has incorporated literally hundreds, if not thousands of different products and manufacturers into one easy to use app. Samsung SmartThings or Google, those are the two I recommend. But don't worry about so much, hey, I got this plug over here, it's only $10. It's honestly, that's fine in the beginning, but eventually if you start getting a lot of items, I really recommend that you try to get the same brand. But the don't worry part is maybe you can't find the same brand, but they're both supported by Samsung SmartThings, so you can get them both and not have to log into separate apps once it's set up. All right, what about PCs, laptops, and tablets? Now I'm going to bundle tablets in with laptops because tablets, there's essentially three kinds. You got the Windows operating system, right? You have Apple, and then you have Android. That's really the main tablet out there. Windows tablets are going to last longest as far as software updates go. Now, when the tablet market emerged, it went crazy. But I think what started to happen is you used to be able to buy a laptop and it would get you by a couple of years, but then people started spending equal or more on tablets and they stopped providing software updates to the latest operating systems within a year and a half, 2 years. That's unacceptable to most people. Now, the Samsung Tab S7 Plus is by far and away the best Android tablet yet. I love it. It's phenomenal. But if we're talking about when to buy tablets, here's a tricky one. I'll be honest with you. You could find a brand new tablet, meaning unopened, that's 3 years old. I honestly, unless it's just for your kids to watch, some movies on or whatever, I don't recommend buying it. It essentially has no value to me. They will not give you the latest Android update if it's an Android. But Windows, because, Windows 10, typically it's like your PC, will. So Windows is more of a business-oriented, but Android is, to me, a little, it's got both now, right? We have DeX with Samsung, which is like Windows, but it's not Windows, of course. But it's fun. You can play games, and not that you can't on Windows, but it's just not the same. I know you know what I'm talking about if you've owned either of them. But anything Windows-wise is going to last you a little longer, right? You might have the 10th generation i5 processor, and then, they might sell you one the 7th generation. Does that really make a difference to you? Well, only you can answer that. But what I recommend is this. 1, picking an operating system that works for you, whether it be PC, laptop, or tablet. 2, remember when it comes to PCs, you're always going to get more in a desktop. Desktops, with the exception of gamers, kind of took a dip in sales for a while, but I think they're right back up there. 1, you will always pay a hefty price tag, for convenience. Meaning, if you had apple-to-apple specs in a laptop and a desktop PC, it's going to be maybe 40% cheaper on a desktop. In addition to that, you can upgrade your desktop very easily. You can buy new parts, and the PC world, let me just tell you, that is probably the worst of them all. It moves fast and it moves furious, right? Just like the movie, stupid joke, I know. But it's so fast that you have the best and it's no longer the best within a few months sometimes. So if you're a gamer, you need to make sure that you have the graphics card that you need to play the games you want. You need to have the memory and the processing power that you want. If you're a business or in school, you just need to make sure it has the processing power to do what you want to do. And then again, the software. You could purchase all the software you want, but that adds an expense. A lot of people see a laptop, and in the old days, brand used to matter. But essentially what we have now is brands, with the exception of laptops with screens, brands are really just the shell. The internals are pretty much, it's pretty much a monopoly. I mean, gosh, Intel's there and AMD, right? You're getting your processors. You're normally getting within several brands of RAM, SSD, solid state drive, or, just straight up hard drive. There's really only a few brands that are put into the, to any mass marketed PC nowadays that's pre-built. So this is not about brand, but about specs. Again, don't just look at a package and it looks nice and you're like, ooh, it has an HD screen, touchscreen, it's great. Oh my God, it has an Intel processor. Intel processors, there's i3, i5, i7, i9, i11. I mean, it just keeps going. You have to do your homework, and I can't stress that enough. Otherwise, you're going to have a nice looking piece of metal that can't do what you want. Quick example, editing videos. The software I use to edit videos, I had a $2,000 laptop. Now, this was several years ago. I know that it's gotten better. I couldn't even open my software to edit with it. Couldn't even open it. And it had an i7 processor in it. But what I realized is that graphics cards were so important to even people that want to edit. Now, when you're an Apple person, that has its own kind of shell there. That's not my specialty. I stick to, honestly, Android and Windows. That's me. But I will say this. You might not need to spend a lot on a computer, but you might need to spend a lot on a computer. Best thing you can do for yourself is to find out what you need to do what you're going to do most, whether it be editing or documents, photo editing, video editing, it doesn't matter, or gaming. Usually you can kind of go, literally thousands of different variants when you build your own PC. So PCs lose money, probably worse than anything. But what you need to find out is, will it do what you need it to do, and for how long will it last? And again, buy an extended warranty if needed. So let's recap what we talked about. When is the best time to buy phones? The best time to buy phones, if you want a brand new device, the latest and greatest, is pre-order at launch with a trade-in. In order to do that and get the most value for your trade-in, you might have to buy a new device at some point in the year, and then you could start that cycle and trading them in. When is the best time logically and, to buy a device and save money. Look for the sales. Don't worry about when it came out, but stick with devices that are within one generation cycle if you're going to buy a device as far as software updates. If you want to ensure the most software update, Google phones will give you, I believe they guarantee anywhere from 2 to 3 years of software updates. Keep that in mind before you buy, but always look for the deal. Never pay full price, except if you have to the very first time you buy a premium device. TVs. When should you buy a new TV? Obviously, if you want it to be right when it comes out, fine when the new models are released. Usually around March, a lot of them start hitting the market. This is a great time to buy last year's model. That is what I recommend. Buying last year's model will get you the best savings. It will still get you a good amount of years of use and software updates. By then, all the kinks are worked out and you're good to go. If you want the latest and greatest model, if you pre-order it, you will pay full price. The only thing I've seen with TVs that are brand new, unless the store runs a sale because it's not doing well, is Samsung has a 2-year trade-in program. You can check that out at Samsung's official Samsung.com. But highly recommend not doing that. It's not worth it. I'll tell you that right now. You can almost guarantee if a TV's $5,000 at launch, it's going to be $4,000 or $3,500 2 months later, and it will be that soon. Now, that's up to you if you want to eat that cost or not. Routers. Get what you need. Think about the future, or even if it's within 2 years, think about that. If you never plan on, having a crazy cable bill, because let's be honest, I'm paying like $168 a month just for my internet to have gig speed. Let's just say you're never planning on going above 300, buy accordingly. Look at how many devices you have, how many devices the router covers, and other than that, buy the one that's in your price point that gets you the technology you need for your home. When we talk about tablets and PCs usually back to school. They run a lot of sales. Labor Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, all the holidays, appliances and PCs will have sales. But again, the day they announce or release next year's Intel processor or next year's graphics card, you will see the price drop on the PC websites. That's the best time to buy if you go a year old. And if you're going to go brand new when it's launched, just be ready to pay a pretty penny for something, again, that's going to lose value extremely quickly. You probably and most likely can get all the technology and processing power you need from last year's model. Now, all of this is my recommendation. Obviously, I buy tech stupidly, really. I mean, it's just, who needs this much tech? Trying to build a business and a brand with a YouTube channel, very, very expensive thing to do, right? But what it has taught me is, 1, the values are worth nothing once you open it. 2, nothing lasts forever. 3, there is no such thing as a perfect brand or perfect product. And 4, the most important thing you can do for yourself is buy something that will last, that is in your ecosystem, that's so important, that will last you for as many years as you expect the amount of money of your hard-earned dollar you spend on it. Never let charging something let you spend triple the amount. Oh, that's a horrible deal. It's $2,000, but you'll let me pay $40 a month for the rest of my life? Done. Try not to think that way. Obviously, we all have done it several times in our lives, but with tech, it's going to be worth nothing and you're going to still owe thousands on it. So, hopefully I answered all the questions. I enjoyed doing this. If you like these kind of videos, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. As always, I want to thank each of you for joining me today. Remember, I do YouTube for you and you only. You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at JB Tech Fanatic. Of course, I love to hear from you in the comments section. I answer everybody that has a legitimate question. If I missed anything, if I can help you with anything, I do think I'm one of the masters at finding sales. If I can help you, I will. Reach me in the comments section. Hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Remember, go out today, do a kind act for someone. Kind acts go such a long way. We need them in this world right now. Be there for each other. Technology is always amazing, but always put your family first. I can't wait to see you in the next video and talk to you in the comments. But until then, I'm JB Tech Fanatic, and I'm out. Peace.